Hello and welcome to My Nation. I am Siddharth Rai. Today we are joined by Tehseen Poonawala, a very avid political commentator and somebody who has his ears to the innermost circles of the Congress party. Welcome, Tehseen.
Thank you, Siddharth.
Tehseen, let's straightaway move to one central question. I mean, it's a stupendous victory for the BJP. Correspondingly, it's a rout for the Congress. And it raises a very pertinent question, I suppose, regarding the leadership of Rahul Gandhi.
I think what this victory does, it re-emphasizes the fact that the mandate of the people in the state and in the national elections was different, especially with the Hindi heartland states going to the Congress. I think it also reflects one more thing, that the Congress on the ground could not gauge what was working with the people and what isn't. I think the message was missed by the Congress party when it went on to issues that were non-issues. I think it was missed when the Congress tried to compete with the BJP in certain aspects. If they're going to be the B team of the BJP, the people will go for the original.
Right.
I think the Congress should have just focused on jobs, the agriculture distress and the economy. I think they completely missed the messaging.
So when you say that the Congress missed this message, that connect with the people, who is this in the Congress that missed the message?
Let's speak with examples, because if we speak this way, we won't understand. Let's talk with examples.
Right.
Maharashtra, you could have sent Sushil Kumar Shinde to Rajya Sabha. I'm being very practical. I'm going to be very frank. You could have sent Rajiv Shukla to Rajya Sabha. Rajiv Shukla brings a lot of value. I'm just giving examples of people who've gone. You sent Kumar Ketkar. Kumar Ketkar. What is Kumar Ketkar's contribution to Maharashtra? You're routed in Maharashtra. Let's look at another state. Let's look at something else. You look at Nyay. What was the messaging of Nyay? Did the common man understand what is Nyay? So,
And wasn't it too little too late?
too little too late. Now let's look at Patna.
Right.
Shatrughan Sinha was standing next to L.K. Advani at a time when the Ram Mandir movement was going on. Suddenly Shatrughan Sinha becomes secular. Now, I know for a fact that in Patna there was a loyalist of the Congress who wanted, a loyal worker who wanted to contest. If you were going to lose, or if you wanted to build a party, you should have allowed him to contest. You get this star from BJP, suddenly he is issuing certificates and he goes to Lucknow and campaigns against the Congress. How will the party be built? If I were to look at myself as a Congress Karyakarta, which I'm not, I only know the party and I study the party.
Right.
Why would I take jutas for the party? Why would I go to jail for the party? Why would I take dandas for the party if I am not going to be rewarded, but reward is going to go to somebody else? On the contrary, Maya Kudnani is out. Sadhvi Pragya is a MP. The BJP sticks by its people, and that is the problem.
See, when we say BJP sticks by people, by its people, we mean that, the BJP leader, the BJP leadership, it reposes its faith in its activists, people who, as you said, sweat and toil for the party. But when we say that, Congress did not do this, Congress did not do that, I understand. But the point is, isn't it a reflection of the leadership?
Not as much as the central leadership, because whether it's Mr. Modi or it's Rahul Gandhi, and I am assuming you're speaking about Rahul Gandhi, they're briefed by the advisors.
Right.
They're briefed by people on what's happening. I think because the messaging has to come from there. I think the messaging is completely wrong from that level.
Right. So you mean to say that Rahul Gandhi, as the party president, is surrounded by, say, a coterie of advisors who rather is not advising him well.
If one of his advisors who's on TV every day, speaking with a nasal accent, comes third in a Haryana election after being an MLA from a neighboring constituency,
Right.
and he's supposed to be very close, what is the message that's going out? If an articulate woman spokesperson is not taken forward, what is the message that's going? What I'm trying to say is Rahul is a great guy, but the people around, I don't think they're in touch with reality. And I keep asking myself this question. And I'm a big, Kanhaiya is a friend of mine, so I'll put that up front. But I keep asking myself, friendship and politics should be should be separate. So the question is, would Nehru or would Indira Gandhi go to JNU and stand by Kanhaiya? No. If no, right? So why are you doing it? You send your general secretary to do it. You don't have to do it. So that messaging, they continuously put Rahul in a corner. I think that's unfortunate for the Congress.
So don't you think Rahul has finally landed on the wrong side of nationalism?
I don't think there is anybody in this country more nationalistic or patriotic than the Gandhi family, who's not one but two martyrs, and Jawaharlal Nehru spent the most amount of time in jail during the independence struggle. Even Mrs. Gandhi, I think she's so, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, she's so entrenched in Indian culture and with Indian values. I think that's not the problem on Rahul Gandhi being non-nationalistic. I think the perception battle is being lost. And the BJP is a master in perception.
See, precisely my point. I'm not saying that, Rahul Gandhi is anti-national or he's not nationalistic enough. I'm just saying that, somehow his advisors, okay, the way they've advised him, the way he has gone out conducting himself, for example, as you said, standing by Kanhaiya Kumar, somewhere or the other, this perception battle has been lost, and this loss has been over. I mean, it's a minor loss, I would say, because it's over nationalism itself.
That's true. I think the messaging has not gone out well. I think it was, I think there have been a number of mistakes post the 3 states that the Congress won, that the Congress made. I don't think a lot of their senior advisors should be speaking to the media. I don't think they should be making frivolous comments. I don't think some of their state ministers should be making frivolous comments. I think it reflects poorly. I think you should have understood that this is a national election, and therefore the messaging should have been national. And that national messaging could have been, look, the greatest nationalism is jobs, economy, agricultural distress. That is what we'll fix. Anybody saying anything else, good luck to them. We are only going to talk about this. You could have stuck to a limited messaging and that would have gone through.
Right. But then, as we agree, Nyaya came too little, too late. Right. Let's come to Priyanka Gandhi. A lot of, rumor mills have been churning. Okay. Priyanka Gandhi has been sort of projected as a competitor to Rahul Gandhi. What do you have to say about that?
I don't think she's a competitor to Rahul Gandhi. I think as siblings, they are extremely close. I think she has put herself in the line of fire, and I don't think I not got rewarded for that. If I was advising the Congress, which I don't, if I was, and I had an asset like Priyanka Gandhi, I would put her in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. This route would have changed. Why would you put her in a place where you don't have an infrastructure? Look, ultimately, even Mr. Modi...
So question is, why was she put there?
That I am not aware of. Maybe she chose to go there. I don't know the internal mechanisms. But even Mr. Modi can only get you that much extra votes. Ultimately, he needs a mechanism to convert the appeal. You have to have a mechanism. So you can't have a great editorial without a newspaper or without a portal like My Nation. So ultimately, Priyanka can only get you the eyeballs and she can get you the voters. But the voters need to convert. There needs to be a mechanism. So the mechanism that was available in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh could have been used. She could have been put there. So I think these are strategic mistakes that the Congress has made. It's brave to fight the battle in East UP, but you didn't get anything out of it.
Right. Now, but Tehseen, it will be a very, very embarrassing situation. Amethi and Raebareli have been, practically they've been, bastions of the Gandhi family for a very, very long time. If Rahul Gandhi, and at this point of time it seems very plausible, if Rahul Gandhi doesn't win in Amethi, if he goes down to the challenge of Smriti Irani, won't it be very, very embarrassing? I mean, given that, his sister is also in charge of Eastern UP.
Even if Rahul Gandhi wins Amethi now, it will be with a slim margin. It won't be with a very high margin. So yes, it's a family stronghold.
I'll rephrase. If he wins with a slender margin, so to say. Okay.
Even if he wins with a slender
Even if he wins with a slender margin.
I think this is a reflection that only and only Mr. Gandhi can do as to what went wrong. But you see, I keep repeating, Mr. Gandhi is a great person individually. He's a very nice human being. Why is his message not getting conveyed to the people? In Amethi I've gone a couple of times. the issues were more to do with state government, and the Congress has not been in power for 20 years or 20 odd years. The central government issues, in fact, Mrs. Smriti Irani played a negative role. She moved the triple IT out, she moved, the food park was shut, so her role was more negative. Yet, despite this, if the messaging could not be conveyed, I think Mr. Gandhi needs to reflect why the organization cannot convey the message to the grassroots. I think that is a reflection he'll have to do, both micromanagement for Amethi and macro on a larger national scale.
Well, I was also in Amethi maybe a couple of months ago in the run up to the elections. See, there is one thing, okay. For example, what I saw, it's a dilapidated leather factory which was sanctioned maybe 2-3 decades ago. Nothing started there. Now it's in shambles. Okay, it's not even, I can't even say that the bricks are there. It's just, I mean, it could fall, the structure could fall any day. Okay, and that again, I would say, signifies, evidences the kind of development that has happened in Amethi. And that I don't know why the Congress is not ready to accept.
So that's not entirely true, Siddharth, because if you see Amethi since the time of Indian independence, there was a time where almost 90% of Amethi land was non-cultivable. Today, Amethi has a very large agricultural base. The largest gas pipeline goes through Amethi. Like I told you that Triple IT was got in Amethi. There was the telecom, the telecom company in ITI whose salaries are not yet paid. A medical sanction was sanctioned for Raebareli, which was supposed to do with Amethi. That has not yet started. That's got to do, it was sanctioned by the previous UP. The current government's not done it, and the state government did not allot land. There is a refinery in Raebareli that works for Amethi. So there has been a lot of development that is not. The ordnance factory, which Mr. Modi famously re-inaugurated, was there since a long time. Okay. There's been the bus depot, the highway, the interjunction which Rahul Gandhi got sanctioned, which is central government, has been changed by the current central government. So there's been a lot of things that Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhi family has done for Amethi. In fact, 80% of your Maruti car wipers are built in Amethi. Okay. So there's been a lot of work that's happened in Amethi. It's not that it has the largest truck concentration in North India. Okay. So there is development.
And yet we are talking about a very slender margin with which, if at all.
And yet the communication is not going through, and yet there is disappointment. So you have to reflect upon that. There is one more problem for the Congress that I see, and it's a larger problem. And this is the problem of minorities. I'm talking about religious minorities, the Muslims in particular. Throughout my India tour, wherever I meet Muslim intellectuals or Muslim leaders, they had a problem with the Congress. And the problem was this. And they would pose this question. Right. In Uttar Pradesh, where there's the Mahagathbandhan, the Congress would field Muslims. But in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, where it's direct in competition with the BJP, they wouldn't field Muslims. So how is that acceptable? And if you're fielding them in UP, BJP benefits. Right. But if you don't field them in the other states, how will they come into mainstream? And you can talk by data. The number of Muslims being fielded by the Congress has gone low. So my limited point is that somewhere down the line, the Congress needs to start understanding that they're not the first choice. They've been branded a Muslim party, but they're no longer the first choice for Muslims. The assumption that Muslims will vote for them, and they need to go back and rework on this. They need to rework on this.
Right. And they brand BJP as a Hindu party, and it is getting Hindu votes.
And it is getting. So who's benefiting by this? They are playing to the BJP strength. And what I said earlier, if you're going to play and be the B team of the BJP will win. This propaganda of this is a Hindu party, this is a anti-national party, or it's a national party, only works to the BJP's advantage. So why do you want to fight that battle when you can fight the battle of jobs, economy, agricultural distress? You fought a battle that you were not going to win. I want to come back to the Muslim point. I'll give you two examples. You know, in Bihar, Tanveer Saab lost in Begusarai from where Kanhaiya stood. Tanveer Saab was the best candidate, in my opinion, amongst Giriraj, Kanhaiya and himself. Why could not you convince Sitaram Yechury to ask Kanhaiya to contest from a next door seat? It's not that Kanhaiya is a mass leader. It's that the left has been living on the Congress. You could have prevailed. Rizwan has won in Karnataka, or he's leading in Bangalore, but Prakash Raj stood from there. Why should Prakash Raj stand from there? Prakash Raj is a state icon. He can stand from anywhere in Bangalore. Right. You see, ultimately, why should a Prakash Raj or a Kanhaiya speak for Muslims? Muslim netritva, Muslim kyun nahi kare? So somewhere you'll also have to be proactive and say, look, no, let the Muslims come. This may be the lowest representation for Muslims.
Right.
Who's to blame?
Okay, so there's in one more thing. Uh, Rafale. Let's talk about Rafale. Rafale didn't stick to the BJP, apparently, of course, as we can see. Bofors still does to the Congress. How?
One, I go back to the original thing. Despite Bofors a clean chit from the court, it still sticks. And Rafale, despite still being under review of the court, there was of course a clean chit, but now under review, it doesn't stick. So it's the messaging. You see, there was this famous interview where a journalist is telling Mr. Gandhi that Rafale's like blood in the body, and it's, you know, these people have to stop giving their opinions. Their idea is limited to that 3.5 kilometer, and they give the wrong opinion. Rafale is an issue. There is no doubt about it that Rafale is an issue. I think what was an issue in Rafale was if it would have been about national security and it would have been about a crony capitalist getting the deal. When the attack went to Mr. Modi, I think it did not stick that Mr. Modi was making money in that. I think till the point that the crony capitalist was helped, that was the point where it should have ended.
Right.
I think at that point. And I think at that point, that particular crony capitalist, there is anger towards him amongst people. But when it was extended to Mr. Modi, I think the messaging got wrong.
Right. They see the opposition throughout this election campaign kept making very, very personal attacks on the Prime Minister. And this seems to have backfired big time.
But the Prime Minister also made very personal attacks on Rajiv Gandhi, who's a martyr.
That came as a response.
No, but you know, see, this is again where Mr. Modi is a master of being a victim. You know, Maut Ka Saudagar was the first time was not said by Mrs. Gandhi but said by Mr. Modi. It's actually Mr. Modi who said this first, and Mrs. Gandhi repeated it. So, Jersey cow, Italian bachada, 50 crore girlfriend, bachche paida karne ki factory. Absolute perverse things have been said by Mr. Modi. Let's come to 2014 and 19. Mr. Modi has made statements that do not behold the post of a Prime Minister. Even if the opposition's made remarks about him, he is the Prime Minister. He's my Prime Minister, he's their Prime Minister.
Right.
He should have been above that. The most unfortunate thing was when Mr. Modi accused Manmohan Singh ji, Hamid Ansari, and a former army chief of plotting with Pakistan to drop his army, to drop his government, only for Arun Jaitley to apologize in Rajya Sabha about that post the Gujarat elections. So it's happened from both sides. Yes, it does not stick on Mr. Modi. Maybe he's got Teflon on him.
Let's talk about apologies. Rahul Gandhi's apology in the Supreme Court. I think it played a lot on the minds of the electorate. Somewhere or the other, this message was conveyed, and since he did apologize, that he was lying on Rafale.
But he did apologize only for attributing that quote to the Supreme Court. He didn't apologize on the actual fact of the Rafale. But again, I think the nuance may not have come out, and I give that completely to you. Maybe the nuance did not come out. But again, it comes down to the fact that, look, you know, there are no excuses in when you're in battle or you're in war. You need to be complete with facts. But it also doesn't take away from the fact that the Prime Minister gets away with a lot more than Rahul Gandhi does.
Okay, let's move from perception to reality. Right. Would you or would you not, I suppose this question is in order, would you not credit Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, with having swayed the poor through his welfare schemes?
Yes, I do.
From Ujjwala to Kisan Samman Nidhi, and against the Kisan Samman Nidhi, Rahul Gandhi, he posits his 72,000, and people reject that.
I do, but what disappoints me about Prime Minister Modi, and I speak as an entrepreneur, is in the last 5 years, we've not seen a more socialist government in the last 20 years than Prime Minister Modi's government has been. So Mr. Modi is supposed to be right of the center economically. He's actually left of the center economically. Nothing that Mr. Modi's done, nothing. I can't think of one thing Mr. Modi's done that has been getting government out of business. He's tried to control even cab fares, he's tried to control plane fares, and there's been nothing to encourage free market. Mr. Modi has been as socialist as the Indira Gandhi years, and that's a telling statement.
Right. So let's, just for argument's sake, Congress's socialism is good, Modi's socialism is bad.
I don't think so. I think the Congress was at its best when it started opening up the economy. I think the Congress got the mandate in 2009 only because they had the guts to stick on a nuclear deal, and the country knew that this was good for it. Of course, the Gandhis backed Dr. Manmohan Singh, and that went to battle. I think if you see the 2009 elections, urban India voted en masse for the Congress. Urban India is considered to be a strong BJP hold. I think 2009, 2010, things were going well. It's only after 2010 when the Congress did not reinvent itself. Yes, we are a poor country. Yes, we need to look after the poor, and that is mandated. It's unfair that I earn so much and there are people who are poor. I completely agree with that. But we need free markets in India. We need freer markets. I think post 2010, post 2011, we've not seen liberalization. Perhaps because the Congress got scared when it tried to bring in FDI and retail that the BJP opposed it, etc. But we've seen absolute disappointment from Prime Minister Modi. He's been absolutely socialist.
But with Rahul Gandhi's 72,000 per year scheme, isn't this competitive socialism, and his socialism has lost?
No, I don't think it was. I think that was actually good for the economy, because one thing about the Nyay scheme, 72,000 rupees, was it was not going to take more than 2% to 3% of the GDP over a period of 5 years. So in effect, it was GDP that over aggregated GDP growth over 20% at an average of 5% over 5 years would have only been about 1.4% of the GDP. That to bring people up to out of poverty and induce spending in the economy, an economy that was badly hit, because today real estate is dead, today a lot of sectors are dead, to bring in spending again to the economy. Because if you give me a lakh, let me simplify this for viewers, I may perhaps spend this in India, perhaps spend it abroad. But if you give the poorest of poor 72,000 to spend, he has no choice but to spend in India, he's not going to go abroad. So that would have revived the economy.
But people rejected it.
That you can't deny it, people rejected it. Right. That does not make it a bad scheme. Of course it was rejected. And again, the communication did not go through.
Right. Let us come back again to the central leadership. What do you think is the way ahead for Rahul Gandhi? Should he step down or should he continue?
I think the Congress needs Rahul even more than ever now. Even more than ever.
So what is the rethink you think the Congress should go through? What's the churn that should go inside?
It has to be Nehru's Congress. Nehru had a vision. You may agree or disagree with his vision, but Nehru took a stand. We may criticize him. In fact, his stand was so powerful the Prime Minister criticizes him today. But he took a stand. The stand was accepted by the people of India. You need to take a stand. You can't be ambiguous.
See, but the age of politicization then and now, I mean, it's a wealth of sort of worlds, the differences.
But Nehru's Congress, I mean socially, not economically, not in the socialism sense. So what I mean to say is, Nehru had a worldview, he had a view for India. If I were to ask you, Siddharth, or me, who covers the Congress, what is the Congress view for India, to articulate it, right. I may be able to articulate it, but that view is not percolated on the state government levels. So is the Congress view actually being percolated down to the grassroots, versus whether I agree or disagree with the BJP view on a lot of issues, that is the same line, for example nationalism, that each one of their people take. That, Tejasvi Surya, he got a ticket. What was the one line he said? You're with Modi or against India. He got a ticket. I may disagree with that. I think that's absolutely not required to say. But everybody down the line, somebody who's a social media star to somebody who's their home minister, says the same line. The messaging is consistent. The Congress may have a message, it doesn't percolate down.
So what's your pill for this malaise?
You got to go back to people who stand up and believe in what you believe in. If your leader of opposition in Maharashtra, his son is fighting for BJP, and the guy is shouting, is campaigning for BJP, you have a divided house.
Or a systemic failure. See, what I'm trying to ask is that the Congress as a party doesn't, it doesn't feel like a party, what I'm trying to say. Okay, you have a party which is in absolute disarray.
Yeah, but you also have a party that does not know how to choose people. Let's look at politically and let's look at bureaucratically. And this may not be a very popular thing to say, but I'm going to say it nevertheless. Who made R.K. Singh the Home Minister? BJP ne banaya, Congress ne banaya. If you make R.K. Singh your Home Minister and he's going to the BJP, you can't choose people. You are fighting the RSS. if I were to employ even somebody as a helper to me or an assistant or in my office, at least if he's working with me, I would know what he thinks. You had R.K. Singh as your Home Secretary. You had Vinod Rai as your CAG. You had Satyapal Singh as Pune Commissioner. There was a bomb blast in Pune. I promoted him, made him Bombay Commissioner. You asked him to investigate Modi. He's a BJP MP. What I'm trying to say is these are not people BJP's made. These are people you've made.
Yes.
You can't identify people. That's a problem. You can't identify loyalists. Your loyalist, who is the last loyalist who's come across, who's self-made in the Congress? Every single loyalist comes from a lineage. Where is your self-made loyalist? You are, like I said, Shatrughan Sinha is a prime example.
So if this loyalty has to be towards a family, towards a dynasty, how do you think a self-made, how do you think you'll find a self-made loyalist? A person can be loyal to the party because he has risen or she has risen through the ranks, right? But maybe it's a perception, but it's a very, very strong perception that in the Congress, the only way to rise is to be close to the Gandhis.
That's not necessarily true. There are people, there is a mechanism in the Congress, and of course you got to be loyal to the party first, and of course the Gandhis are the central force around the Congress. So you have loyalty to them.
Gandhis are the party?
I'm not saying Gandhis are the party, but I'm saying the Gandhis are the central force to the party, just like Modi and Amit Shah are the central force to the BJP. And Amit Shah would expect some amount of loyalty. It would be naive to say Amit Shah does not expect loyalty,
Absolutely.
as it would be naive to say the Gandhis don't accept.
Okay.
They are the central force. Modi and Amit Shah bind the party as the Gandhis bind the
So
party.
you accept it's a dynasty-based party?
I accept that the Congress is a better placed party than the BJP simply because the dynasty in the BJP or the Parivarvad in the BJP is worse off for this country than the Congress. But where the BJP scores over the Congress is the BJP's ability to reward loyalty to people who stand by the ideology versus the Congress that does not. And I go back to the example of Shatrughan Sinha. I don't think Shatrughan Sinha has any Congress ideology. Why should he be given a ticket? If the guy doesn't know the difference between Maulana Azad and Jinnah, he doesn't deserve. Maulana Azad means a lot to Indian Muslims. He means a lot to Indian democracy. He is an example of who Indian Muslims should emulate. If Shatrughan Sinha doesn't know the difference between the two, and he's contesting on a Congress ticket, I think there is a problem. I think you need to go down to rewarding loyalty to the party, and it can't be given to outsiders. Outsiders coming in and advising what should happen must stop. There's another guy. He's come from somewhere in the US, keeps talking about Black Swan. Don't know his name. He has an accent. What is anger index? He said Maharashtra is the most angry state. Maharashtra Congress has got wiped out. And the Congress is on its way to become as irrelevant in Maharashtra as it is in UP. And Maharashtra is the second biggest Lok Sabha state after Uttar Pradesh. What is this guy's contribution? This guy is going to tell political animals what is right, what is wrong. Just zameen pe aap unki baat suno. That's my message.
Thanks, Tehseen. Thank you so much for being on My Nation. Tehseen Poonawalla doesn't think that Rahul Gandhi is the one who lost this election. He thinks it's a coterie of advisors who are not giving him the right advice, who are not training his guns in the right direction. His prognosis for the Congress is a ground up restructuring where loyalty will be rewarded and outsiders will be put in their right place, that is outside the circles of trust. To what extent will the Congress and Rahul Gandhi as its leader be able to do that is for all of us to see, as it will happen in the future if at all. So far as this election season is concerned, Rahul Gandhi will have to be introspective with what has happened. He'll have to take factors into account which might even include making way for a broader leadership. Stay tuned with My Nation. We'll be back again.